Well, I figured I'd make a video. It should be fun. What I'm working on today is I'm running wires from where they originally went to a alternate route. So that way it cleans up the engine bay some, and it allows me not to have to worry about tires rubbing through the wires in the future or doing anything like that. So I wanted to show you my process on how I do that, and something that I wanted to do just to make it a little bit more cleaner, and instead of having a big hole to route the wiring harness through, I'm going to essentially make a smaller hole. And the way I'm doing that is I'm taking the actual terminals out of the plug itself, and I am therefore making it to where I can fit the wires through versus the bigger plug. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So what we got here is, this is the plug for the wiper motor. And so what I'm doing is I am taking each and every wire out of the plug itself, because if you look, you know, that'll probably take like a 1/4 inch grommet for all those wires to fit through. Where if I made the hole big enough to allow this to fit through, then it's going to be a grommet that's way larger than what I need. So this is just an extra step to get the same job done, but in my eyes, cleaner. And you know, a smaller grommet means less chances of water getting in, atmosphere from being outside, you know. So it's just something I like to do. So I'll show you how I do that. So what I have here is I have a terminal tool. You can get these from Radio Shack, probably any audio install place. I don't know if they'll sell stuff like this. Amazon, eBay. If you're like a mechanic and you turn a wrench for a living, you can probably get this off your tool truck. This has got different styles for different pins. Yeah, that looks like a flathead. I've never used that one, but and then I have some other ones, you know, and then I also have this little handle deal, because sometimes you got to give it more force in order to do that. You can see like this would take, you know, some of these are terminal or the connector specific, but each one will allow you to pull almost just about any style harness apart. You can use this for repinning. You can use this, say you build a harness and you made your own plug. One of my last projects, I built my own harness, and I made a male-female plug, and one of my wires was off. So I had to, that's what eventually why I bought these terminal tools, was so that way I could get that pin out, because I didn't want to cut the wires and redo it, or cut that one wire, because all my wires were the same length. And so I'm kind of OCD when it comes to that stuff, but that's how it works. On this particular terminal, it's actually, you know, this is an older truck, so it's pretty simple. It was let's see here, it was this one right here. And on this one, you go from the back side, and if you look in there, there's a tab. So the first thing you're going to want to do is push the wire up to where it's closer to this end versus this end, and then take that tool, push it in there, push that tool in there and get that tab, and then hold the tool in there while you pull the wire out. This particular plug-in, you can actually probably use like a like a miniature style flathead, like a precision flathead or eyeglass flathead. You know, a flathead that comes with like your eyeglasses. Just because this is an older style plug, but when you get to like the LS harnesses, you get to this is a good example. You would actually have to take the wire, you'd pull this rubber grommet out, and then on the back side you would release the wire. But when you're working on like LS harnesses and you're repinning everything, there's a specific terminal that you'll need to use in order to pull those out, or you're just going to destroy the plug. So it's the next day. I figure I'll go ahead and show you guys the finished product on that little step that I do as far as hiding the wires. So I'll show you what that looks like. So the only wires that were needed again on the passenger side of this Mazda is the wires that go to the plug for the wiper motor. So originally it came out through a hole right here, and it had all the emissions wires. You're going to have wires for the wiper motor, the whole computer harness for all the computer controlled emissions and everything that went to the carburetor originally, all came through here, and it was probably about this big. So I plugged the hole, and then instead of making a hole this big right here, because all I needed was 5 wires, I pulled the pins, or pulled the terminals out of the actual plug itself, and then I put in a 1/4 inch grommet and then fed the wires through there. Now I've got more wire stuck through here than I need, because I nicked, let's see if I can get it to focus. I nicked one wire, so I'm going to repair it before I tuck it back in there. But pretty much the wire is just going to come up through here, and this hole is big enough for the plug to fit through. Barely, but big enough. So then all I have is going to be on this side, would just be a small loom of wires to the wiper motor. And that will literally clean up this whole side of the engine bay. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys kind of an end result, but that's what we're looking at.